All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the Career School podcast. We are on number two, and we have a beautiful topic today, which is happiness. So, rapid fire question, Tina, how happy are you at work right
Now
now in the
I'm
career school?
now I'm very happy. Now I'm doing my absolutely the most amazing thing I could ever be doing with my life. I think I am very privileged. I'm very happy, and my whole mission is to make to show to people that this is possible.
Yeah, so we're talking about happiness today, job happiness, but we are talking about a very unique topic here. So we are not talking about all the little things, like environment, good manager, leadership skills. We're not talking about all these little things that can cause either happiness or career unhappiness. We are talking about what I would consider like this underlying thing, this like simmering below the radar, something that probably a lot of you are not aware of. So we're going to get right into it. The first question, okay, I've already alluded to it, is so Tina, what would you say is the missing puzzle piece? What is the underlying reason why people are unhappy with their work?
So such a broad subject, right? In one sentence, in one
We'll narrow it down. We'll narrow it down. It'll be okay.
everybody's unhappy in their own way. This is what I have seen is that there is this saying by Tolstoy that all the families are happy in a similar way, all the families are unhappy in a very unique, different way. So I feel the same about careers. The reasons for unhappiness are really so broad and vast among different people. But what I have noticed down fundamentally at the root cause, most of the time when we look at the people who have more just like one pet peeve, like one bad colleague, one bad manager. But when we look at the fundamental reasons of like, why am I feeling I've worked really hard and I'm looking back and I'm seeing this is not when we see this major, massive mismatch of the person with the job, we see what I see is that the root cause, the very, very deep underlying reason behind that is very often I find in what I would call as the different stages of our career. It's the mismatch in the different stages of our career. So if we look at the person who is just entering the workforce, they just finished the university, the school, the very first work experience normally is exploration. It's all about experimenting. It's all about trying different things. And the first stage of our career is all about experimenting. And the whole point of that stage in our life and in our career is to learn more about ourselves. It's growing self awareness. What do I like? What do I not like? What works for me? What drains me? What gives me energy? What inspires me? What makes me think? What makes me cry? All of these things we learn in our first, that stage of career. So I call it experimentation stage.
Okay, so stage one, experimentation. So
Yeah.
you're in this stage where you're like discovering the things of life. Like you are discovering the things you like, the things you don't like, um, you know, like, you know, trying new cuisines. And that's not related to career, but I mean when you're young, right? You're trying new things like, oh, I like this, I don't like this. Or, maybe you're trying some tasks or hobbies or whatever. So what are some things? So let's break it down a little bit. Like when you're in this exploration stage, what are the things that you are trying on in your career? Like, is it careers themselves, or is it like tasks, or is it like environments, or what are these bits that you're exploring?
All of them. All of them. You try different people. You see how you work with different people, what, in which situations you are worried, and in which situations you're confident, you're growing confident. So you really explore first and foremost about yourself. Growing self-awareness is the key theme of this stage. And what people do is they very often they try different jobs, they try different careers, they go try something and then they feel like, okay, I'm bored. I want to try something else. So they will
Mm,
very often, what I see the common themes in this stage is that people try different things. They will go from retail to hospitality, from hospitality to food and beverage, and then they try something else. So they really try a variety of different topics. It's almost that task variety. They're driven by task variety. They just want to enjoy
mm,
their life at this point. They're not really, a lot of times, not really seriously trying to go deep, penetrate deep into one area. It's like
okay.
superficial, testing the waters in as many areas as possible.
So this time is not about honing skills or like, finding niches. It's more about like deep diving into niches, I mean. It's more just about like, oh, like a buffet, you try a bit of that, try a bit of that, try a bit of that.
Yeah,
Okay. It's more
yeah.
like this. So I want to know, what did that look like in your life? And what age was that for you? What did that look like? This sort of thing.
This was me after the university. I started to teach at the university and then I loved it, but somehow I was like, is that it? Do I want to just to stay here? It felt like boring. I loved it, but it felt boring at the same time. That's kind of the
What
conundrum,
did you
right?
teach? I'm just curious, what did you teach?
Yes. I was teaching hospitality and tourism.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was very interesting subject. I was teaching English as well. Um, yes, and then I got attracted to, okay, let me try something else. Let me try something else. I went to actually tourism and then I went to hospitality. So I ended up in the Maldives and then I went to work in Thailand and then I
Amazing.
went to live in Dubai. So it took me
Amazing.
all of it. So my exploration stage was really long and I was trying
Hmm.
different industries. It was just, yeah,
How
just a
long? What do you mean by long? Like 10 years, 3 years, 20 years?
Yeah, like
What do you
10
mean?
years, I would say. Like I would say
Okay.
probably for me, it was about 10 years that it took for me. But wherever I started, I kind of like ended up with that attraction to training. So I would
Hmm.
start in hospitality, but then I go into the training department. I would start, for example, in aviation, and I go into flying, and then I ended up in the training college. So there was always
Hmm.
that magnet that pulled me, but I still wanted
Hmm.
to experiment. I still wanted to see. So this is quite common for that stage, is just task variety. Um, Most importantly, just seeing what is it that I love. So it's all about gathering knowledge, first and foremost about us. Even
Hmm.
though, yes, people will do a lot of learning, people will do a lot of activities which are typically symptomatic of the next stage, which is the growth, which is more about, okay, now I know what is interesting to me, and I want to go deeper into this. I want to grow roots in this. So they start
Hmm.
collecting kind of deeper knowledge, skills, qualifications.
Okay, so stage two is growth. So stage one,
That's the one.
exploration. Stage two is growth. Okay, tell me, what does this stage look like?
So this is when we want to, already we have some understanding. And again, that will be very different from different people, but this is where the primary focus is now, not to learn about me, but learn about the job.
Hmm.
And of course, we do this in the first stage as well. There is a lot of learning when we just enter the workforce, but that's not the focus. It's not the things we do, it's what is the priority. There is a
Hmm.
slightly, it's not as obvious, like we do all this, but this is the priority. What is the actual focus, the higher priority, deeper for me? What is it that actually I'm needing at this point of time in my career? And that's where people go deeper in the role. They start acquiring knowledge, acquiring skills, building up connections, networks, social capital, building up confidence. There is that desire coming. I want to
Hmm.
become the expert. I want to be trusted. So this is when people start what is, I call it growth because it's traditionally associated with growing in the role or in the
Yeah.
industry profession. Um, we need at this point a lot of feedback. We need a lot of, because now it's about learning. I need those points of reference. How am I doing? Am I going in the right direction? Am I learning the right things? Am I doing these things correctly? We need a lot of validation, a lot of feedback, a lot of
Hmm.
appreciation, recognition. It's um, it's when we need a lot of points of reference to feed into our
Yeah.
knowledge of that profession. People will go on courses, qualifications. People will go into deeper kind of levels
Mm.
um, of expertise, and how they view their progress very often is with the help of that feedback from the manager is very important, feedback from colleagues,
Mm.
but also promotions. People are very much interested in promotions because they
Yeah.
are very clear sign that I'm growing in my role, I'm growing in my profession, I'm growing deeper roots in this area. So it's all about
Mm.
that depth. If the first stage is all about the spread, now the second stage is all about depth, in going in depth
Okay.
into that
Yeah.
profession.
So you find that thing that you're like, oh, this really ignites my passion. This is really exciting to me. Or even just like, yeah, this is the thing I want to do. You've had this
Yeah,
moment and
yeah,
then you deep dive into growing your skills. So that could be like taking courses, like collecting
yeah,
certifications, maybe even getting a mentorship or something where
yeah,
you're getting mentored or something to where you're like building confidence and appreciation. I think the most important thing is I don't want to get ahead of our conversation, but I want to like bookmark it is this idea about feedback and that how if you're in
mhm,
that phase and you are trying to grow and you're not getting feedback, that can be a huge source of unhappiness and frustration. I want to like bookmark that we'll talk about it later when we actually get to like the
yeah.
disconnect, the dissonance, whatever. But really cool thing, really good thing to mention.
Yes. So the key driver, the key desire at this stage, again, there will be people doing a lot of things. They might still try some different areas, but the key priority for them is to really test maybe some adjoining areas, for example, trying something similar and then saying, oh, okay, no, this is not for me. Let me go back. Or, oh, okay, this is interesting. So there's still a lot of um,
Like
exploration.
honing, like,
Yeah, it's almost like finding what's the right lens for me, what's the right kind of like
mm,
exactly the right angle. Where is my expertise? What is my USP?
mm,
This is when we grow our knowledge. So, for example, my knowledge is learning and development with
mm,
project management, quality assurance. So this is the triangle that builds up my skill set. So we grow our
mm,
unique skill set, our USP, our brand, our reputation at this stage.
mm. Okay. So for you, maybe it was like when you were trying all these new things, but everything kept leading you back to a bit of like
Yes.
training and growth and this sort of stuff. So this is sort of guiding you into that direction, and then you can actually like, carry on and go into that field.
Yeah.
So since we mentioned like the time in the first one, how long can this take? Can this take a long time, a short time, or what chunk of your career does this end up taking up?
So here is the thing that this is very, very different for different people. Like traditionally, it
Mm,
would be associated with, okay, when you're in your 20s, you enter, you start exploration, closer to 25, you start kind of going deeper and progress to stage two. But this is not very often the case. A lot of
mm,
times, the person enters the job and immediately they feel the need to start growing in that job, and there are a lot of factors. A lot of people can just skip almost entirely the first stage, and they just, where they end up, the very first role, they just start rooting into that role. They haven't tried anything else, and that happens
yeah.
for a variety of reasons. For example, I see that a lot happening in families where children follow the profession of their parents. So it's almost from a
Mm,
young age, if the parents or one of the parents is a lawyer, almost from a very young age, they're conditioned to want to
yeah.
become a lawyer. Well, it's a well-paid job. Who
Yeah.
cares if you like it or not?
It's
Nobody's
the
asking the child at
expectation.
that
Yeah.
stage. It's like we have a route, we have all the connections, we have all the
Yeah.
networks, we have all the support systems for you to go in there. It would be stupid not to try. So the person will
Yeah.
just go in there. They will not even ask
Mm,
themselves, do I like this or not? They start growing, they start building the roots, growing the roots
mm,
without even, do I actually want to be in that role? So
mm.
this is a lot of
Yeah.
times happens from those kind of family expectations, conditioning. Also, if you think about this, our educational systems are not really built for a long exploration, especially in many countries, in many cultures, in many families. When you finish school, you are expected or wanted by your parents or by the society in that culture to go to choose your profession, because you go to the
Mm,
university, you want to continue your education, and you need to make that call as a school leaver. As a school leaver, you don't
Mm.
have enough data about yourself.
Yeah, that's so
I feel
true.
very sorry for poor parents and children who have to make that
Yeah.
call very, and fair enough, some people know, like my husband, he always knew from a very young age he wants to fly. He loved the planes. His dad
Yeah.
was into airplanes. That was an easy call, easy transition, and for a lot of kids it will be. For me it was always like she goes into teaching one way or another, one industry or another. I just always felt that I was
Yeah.
teaching my parents at school. I would come from school to my home, and I would put my parents and saying, today I learned something cool about baobabs. I'm going to tell you everything I know about baobabs. This is so cool. This is so exciting. It's just like that need to
I want to
teach.
learn about that.
My very first thing I remember, one of the brightest experiences, a geography class about Madagascar and baobabs. And I just thought, this is so cool. I need to teach somebody. This is how my love to something translates, is because
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
other people to know about this. But
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely. I love it.
the
Yeah.
right career choice needs
Yeah.
to have a lot of data about us to make the
Yeah.
right. This is why when we do midlife career transitions, why they are so powerful, so
Mm.
transformational, is because now you know, now you have all of that information that was
Yeah.
never available when you were 17, 20, 25. You have now amassed such a wide data
Yeah.
pool of everything,
Mm.
your skills, your interests, your strengths, your desires, your values. You have
Yeah.
now such a complete and whole individual with so much awareness about every single aspect of your personality and
Yeah.
everything. And we just don't have that data. It's not enough data at that point.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times they just pick one. And then the problem is if you had to pick one with that limited data and maybe that's not the right one, but now you have made all of that financial and time investment that
Yes.
once you come out of that university, you need to justify that cost. You need to make return on investment. So you need to
Mm.
grow in that career because otherwise
Yeah.
you've just
Sunk
wasted
cost.
a huge chunk
Yeah.
of your, yes, yes, not a lot of people will say, well, okay, that's fine. I learned about, I don't know, I learned to be a lawyer, but I actually want to go and paint pictures. That's exactly what I want to do for my life. Very few people will have guts, to do that,
Yeah.
to acknowledge that. It's just very not normal, and people will,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but not a lot of people will be able to make that strong
Mm.
decision in their
Mm.
life. So they just go grow in that career. They start kind of building that career up. They're building
Mm.
themselves up in that job, and they look for progression, they look for advancement with maybe minor changes, minor shifts, but they're very much into that career ladder,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting those paychecks, getting that kind of status is all acknowledgement that you are on the right track, you are doing the right thing, you are growing and
Mm.
growing deeper, establishing yourself as a subject matter expert in this career. And that's
Mm.
key driver of desire for the person at this stage of their career is to feel
Okay.
like I'm a subject matter expert. I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I am trusted. So trusting
Mm.
me and people can trust me to do this well. Being seen as an expert.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, then when you finish stage two, you have established you are an expert in this area. So that's like the growth stage is like, okay, now you're an expert. So we have exploration, growth, and then the third one is
And the third one is establishment. So this is when you are
okay.
established. And this is, again, time-wise, some people will never reach it. They will always want to grow straight
Mm.
to retirement years, a lot of
Yeah.
times, or that kind of last period. So not everybody will feel the same duration in their life when actually maybe my interests are elsewhere. I'm just happy where I am. And this is
Mm.
where a lot of times they are a high performer because they have built themselves up to that level. But the only way we know to recognize people is to put people for the next role, for the promotion.
Mhm.
But the person who has reached the third stage, the established stage, they're not looking for promotion. They are people who want just to do what they're good at. They already feel like I trust myself, I know what I'm doing, I'm
Yeah.
performing, and I'm happy where I am. It's the people who feel like I can either focus on something else in my life, and I can just come and do the job and go home to my family. So there is not a
Yeah.
lot of ambition. We don't see a lot of ambition at this point, but
But it's
because they are
contentment. It's not like it lacks ambition. It's just that it's contentment. You are like
contentment.
satisfied and,
Yes.
reach that point.
But very often managers are caught unawares of these employees. They're thinking, well, 3 years ago, you were an ambitious, driven, which is always seen as the positive, right? Ambitious, driven.
Mm,
And now suddenly this employee has lost their interest. They think that what's going on? They're still performing highly, but they're just not aiming for anything else. They're just happy
mm,
where they are. And they're trying to push them into different secondments, projects, all
mm,
those kind of new challenges. But because that's the only way we know how to reward, or a lot of
mm.
organizations know how to reward these high performing employees. But actually, it's much better to reward them with what they do need. And people at
Yeah.
this stage, at the established stage, they don't want extra challenges. They don't want promotions. They want more flexibility, more autonomy, doing the tasks
Mm,
in the way, in the time, in the place that works for them. Or like there are different other ways that we need to find, that organizations need to find, to reward these employees, that do not include a change in the title, a changes in the scope and the responsibilities. But this is very often is not working. This is where
mm.
I see a lot of conflicts in organizations
Yeah.
between these employees.
So
and
this
then,
last stage, which is what did you call it? Like established.
and this is not the last stage.
Oh,
This is just the third one, but there is one more.
my bad. Okay. Okay, so the third stage is establishment. And this stage decided by like, hey, I'm here, I'm satisfied. Let me just like sit and enjoy it, let me just
Yeah,
like I made it, I've arrived. Now let me
I've
just
arrived. Yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just happy where I am. I'm doing, yes, it's just a good stage. Yeah, just a really contentment. It's like I think I need to rename it. I really like the word contentment. It's really exactly the right word for this stage.
Okay. Do you feel like you've ever reached that stage?
I
I
feel
ask that because I know teachers always are in the growth stage. Teachers love to stay in the growth stage. Which, okay, so sorry, I
no,
interrupted you.
no, I think yes. No, I think yes. I would. I don't know. I feel like now I'm still in the growth. Yes, the business has got so much to grow into. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's me growing with the business still so much. But hopefully one day that will be the stage. It's a beautiful, it's some view it as a plateau, but I don't like that word. That means stagnation. No, no, no. It's a very
Yeah.
nice, happy place
It's
to be.
contentment. It's enjoying. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I took a 32-hour trip to Chiang Mai. Now let me enjoy it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But that's not the
Okay.
last stage. Well, it's the last for some,
Okay.
but for some it's not. So not everybody will want to progress to the fourth stage, which is the meaning stage, which is all about leaving a legacy. And again,
Mm,
traditionally, if we have to associate it with any age bracket, traditionally it's associated with people who are pre-retirement, who are almost like feeling they are offboarding themselves from their professional journey, and they're preparing for taking it slower, taking it down. But also, before I go away, they feel like I've amassed all this wealth of knowledge, and they feel, how can I make an impact? How can I make this all a value to other people, to the society, or to the planet, or maybe to the animals? Like, how
mm,
can I see a greater, how can I make this a broader, more meaningful contribution to
mm.
a bigger purpose? And some people will feel very strongly about that, and some people will not even feel any of that, because maybe their sense of purpose is elsewhere, in my family or in my hobbies, or I'm preparing for a marathon. And some people will
Mm.
be very happy to stay in that contentment or established phase. But some people will feel the need to, I don't want to say leave a legacy. A lot of people feel of this like this is very ambitious. This is
It feels
very,
very masculine. It's like
yeah,
leave a legacy. Like I don't know, it
yeah,
just feels masculine to me. But I feel like I get it though. I think I get it. Like basically you want to like you know leave something nicer than you left it. Like you want to feel like you have all this knowledge, like let me impart it onto someone, right? This
Yeah.
is because I mentioned the masculine thing, I want to mention a feminine thing. This is actually people have been talking about this is actually the beauty of menopause. It's like when you get to this stage, a lot of things change in the female brain. Um and even though we can no longer reproduce, we are actually still incredibly valuable to society, and we're just like valuable in a different way. Okay, people are always valuable whether they reproduce or not. But like, I mean, biologically, women still have this huge amount of value, like because you have all this wisdom, and it was something I was listening to
Nurturing,
some
right?
pod.
We feel very like
Yes,
nurturing the younger generation.
yes,
Like their
yeah,
whole shift from being a mother to just let's all look after each other. Let's make a
yeah,
world a better place. And some people they
yeah,
will say, oh my God, this is so ambitious. This is so, I don't know, big and bold. It can be something small. It can be just teaching another person. It may be just making the vibe in the team make less
yeah,
stressful and more
yeah,
humane, more like just let's just be nicer to other people. Some
yeah,
people feel
yeah,
even that just that's the contribution, but
yeah,
it's just desire to do something which we think is important, and that sense of important will vary massively. Some people will want to save the planet. Some people will want to go to volunteer for a year in Africa, saving, helping look after the abandoned
yeah,
animals and rescued animals, or go to the orphanages and help look after children. And other people just, I just want to be at least one nice person in the team who actually can
yeah,
give answers and help other people out. It can
yeah.
vary massively, but
So like I think about my own self, like meaning is less important when it comes to career because I'm happy to find meaning outside of my career.
yeah,
But actually what you're saying is, I think in some ways how I feel in my career. I was an educator for most of my career. Okay, I'm still quite young. Um, I think I'm young. But like I was a teacher most of my career, or did something with education most of my career. And I think where I am a bit now is like what I would like to do is I would like to use all the things that I learned as a teacher and educator and a person living on this earth for so many years. I would like to help people live an easier life. Like, and I want to use the things that I've learned and teach people how to live an easier, happier life. Like that's the thing that I really care about. So actually, here I am thinking of meaning. I didn't even acknowledge the stage a minute ago, and now I'm like, oh, I think I might really resonate with this stage.
yeah, yeah.
Very
It's an
interesting.
important stage, and a lot of people, we just have this very high expectation because the word purpose is a very big word, and a lot of people think like, oh, this is a very profound question which I'm not ready to answer in my life yet. But it's just about feeling that it's it matters, that this work matters. There was an experiment long time ago, maybe in the 70s, when they asked two groups of people. They gave them those Lego pieces, and they said, for each model you build with these Lego pieces, we will pay you a certain amount of money. And in the first group, and with each piece that you build, they pay you a little bit less. So they start on a kind of higher rate, and then they
Okay.
pay less, less. That was common for two groups. The only difference between the two groups was that in the first group, they would they would keep all those models that participants build. They will line them up nicely and show them to those, and you can see how that pile is kind of growing. And in the other group, you're still building your maybe model number 10, but the first one is getting dismantled right there in front of you. It's disassembled. So you can see that basically your work is futile. It's just you're just okay, you're still paid exactly the same as the other group, but it's just seeing that it doesn't matter how you build
Yeah.
a model, doesn't matter. It's just going to
It's
be a
gonna get
pile of
dismantled.
spare parts in a moment.
Mm.
An interesting difference they saw, that the group that saw that lineup rather than the futile group, they kept building even after they stopped paying them. They stopped paying
Mm.
them already. They reached the kind of $0 rate, but they still kept
Mm.
doing it just because they felt that's a really nice, cute
Yeah.
pile of Lego models.
Yeah, yeah. At least you can see like what you've
Yeah.
created and it amounts to something versus like when they're dismantling, it's like amounts to nothing. Like it amounts, I mean, yes, I'm getting paid, but it amounts to nothing. Wow, that's really interesting. I think that's also a really interesting point related to feedback is like if you
Mm.
can see the effect you're having and you get that feedback, like, okay, maybe the feedback is not super meaningful, but it's like I'm seeing something versus like I'm getting nothing. Like I think that's really impactful. Wow, that's such a cool experiment.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I
Interesting.
think that kind of like really, if we see there is some meaning, some rhyme to what we're doing, some kind of sense of, again, that big word purpose, but just that it matters, that there is something to it than just the paycheck at the end of the month. That a lot of people, for example, like when I work with people who are deciding to go build their own business, those startuppers, those freelancers who do this just as a project to get some income, maybe as a side project alongside their day job,
Mm,
or not, but they think of it just as a, oh, here is a nice way, maybe I can make some money with that. I don't think they stay long enough to see any fruit of their
mm,
labor because,
mm.
as we know, building a business
Yeah.
takes a lot of work, a lot of stamina.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
the things you never thought you would be doing, right? As when you
Mhm.
build your own business, you think it's a coaching business, we're just going to be helping people, but what you end up is a lot of marketing, a lot of, I don't know, accounting, a lot of things that you don't actually thought in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah. It's like dieting. It's like if you don't see those pounds come off or
Yeah.
the stones or kilos come off, you're like, oh, this is rubbish. Like, why am I doing this?
So when we see that feedback, how it lands, for some people it would be that kind of meaning, the the impact of this
Yeah.
is that it makes a difference. And this is why when we do give feedback, it's important to say why, what was powerful.
Mm.
Oh, that was a great presentation. Yes, but why? What was good about it?
Yeah.
Is it,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
specific detail is very important.
Okay.
This is the fourth one. And again, not everybody will want to reach the fourth stage. And that's absolutely fine. There is absolutely no judgment. There is absolutely no need to achieve all four. It's absolutely fine to stay in one if somebody wants. That's absolutely fine. There are no rules and time frames and expectations. Everybody's career
So
journey is very.
actually, you could move through them and then move back through them.
You
Out.
definitely can. You definitely can. You can start afresh. For example, if you've just rooted too deeply, you didn't experiment maybe enough in your career and you just immediately jumped on one profession from the start, you built that career. Very often I see that what I work with the people in their midlife crisis, as it's normally called, or mid-career change, we call it.
Mm.
Um, those are the people who need to go back to experimentation. What do I actually like? And sometimes people think, sometimes they know, not everybody has to go back to the first stage, but sometimes people, I don't even know. All I know is that I don't
Mm.
like what I'm doing now. So let's try. Doesn't mean that we will
Yeah.
send people on different kind of jobs. It means that we
Yeah.
will ask them to do something that is like a little project. Try a little
Yeah.
project. Get involved in this. How is that resonating with you? So we
Mm.
ask them to tap into different things based on the information we currently have about them, like their interests, their
Mm. Yeah.
desires. So we select, we curate a kind of a list of interesting subjects for them to explore, and when they come back, we say, so that's a little, we recreate almost in a lab environment that exploration stage where we
Yeah.
allow the person to grow a little bit
Yeah.
more self-aware and self-aware about
Yeah.
their.
Okay, so now we have the stages, the career stages, these four career stages. So let's talk about the dissonance. So like this is what we were talking about at the beginning, which is like your happiness, a lot of times the foundation of that happiness or unhappiness is if
Yeah,
these things are aligned. So we're talking about alignment between the career stage you're at versus what your job or your career is currently providing you. So you're
yeah,
in stage one, but is your job providing stage one? You're in stage three. Is your job providing stage three? So let's dive into that topic now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If this is what we call the crisis, the career crisis. When does it happen? It happens when our environment cannot give us what we actually look for. For example, somebody is in a deep growth stage where they feel like they are reaching that kind of level where they need the promotions, the next step up. They have built all of this knowledge, the next step, because they are very deeply rooted in that growth stage. So they want the next step up. They want advancement. They want a change of title, a change of responsibilities. They want to become, more responsible for more, um, basically climb the hierarchy. And their organization maybe cannot give them that. There is just
Mm.
nothing available. So that's where a lot of people feel there is that ceiling. I can't break through. How do I break through that?
Mm.
Or
But
maybe,
maybe also they're not being given opportunities to learn new skills. Like if they're
yeah.
in that growth phase and they're like, okay, I really want to learn how to, manage my own marketing campaigns, but the company is not providing them an opportunity to learn that or practice that or build that skill.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Or what can happen is that maybe a person in the establishment stage or in contentment stage, they want to stay in their comfort zone. They want to take a slower pace. They just want to get the job done and go home. Um,
Mm.
and I can't say they don't learn, but it's more like to stay on top rather than
Mm.
progress and, like take those leaps. So they're essentially happy where they are. They're already seen as an expert. And what can be the wrong thing to do for them there is to go into or assign them to some stretch projects and try to push them into some
Mm.
of those kind of like managerial roles, as secondments. Um, and maybe if somebody is in they maybe somebody has been in the established phase and they want to go into meaning, or they want to revert back to the growth stage. So it's constantly shifting.
Yeah.
And organizations and managers, they don't currently have a lot of focus on that. They don't,
Mm.
not very often they can provide that, and very often the person doesn't even know why
Yeah.
I'm feeling that huge discontent within me, and I
Mm.
can't understand where it's coming from. But
Mm.
the problem is that a lot of people will just, well, it's just work. Let me just get on with it. That's the biggest problem, that people don't pay attention to
Yeah.
it. And they will go to that role, they will go to that job, and they will just wait for the weekend. And then the weekend passes before they even realize that, oh, here is another week. So the key
Mm.
problem is that just to realize, just to stop and think, how is that? Is my career really giving me those? So we
Yeah.
measure this with something that is our career needs assessment tool.
Mm.
Um, and it's in the free resources on our website.
Yeah.
You can go and explore. It's just 20 questions, but they really, when we look at those answers, we can already see where the trends that can then
Mm.
signal, diagnose that actually the way the person is this, that's what they need. Maybe they need
Okay.
task variety. They want to go back to
Yeah.
that experimentation phase. They want to, that's where people say, I'm bored. Very often people feel I'm
Mm.
bored at what I'm doing. That's the people who need more of that
Mm.
stage one experience, which is more about experimenting and trying different things. But
Yeah.
their role is
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
like that. So that discontent is coming from that.
So basically, you have these stages and you have also your current experience. And I want to maybe get some more examples for people because I think the reason why this topic is so important is because a lot of times we have these like red herrings in a way, like these little distractions. Like we're not actually dealing with the root cause. We're seeing these little things like, oh, I hate my manager, she's a micromanager, or like, oh, I hate all these tasks. Like people are just giving me all these like, tasks that I just hate. So you think it's these things, you think it's this other stuff, but actually it's this underlying mismatch between your career stage and what is being offered to you. Can you share anything in your life, like past jobs or anything where you felt like there was a career mismatch?
I think that what brought me to establish the career school is that I wanted to go into the meaning. I wanted to make an
Mm,
impact. And my role was very much geared for that growth, not necessarily in the
mm,
promotions, but just stretch, very stressful projects, a lot of projects,
mm,
long hours. So all of that kind of
mm,
intensity of work. What I really needed was feeling that my work matters, that it's not just
mm,
a paycheck. And I see a lot of people, they are having those successful jobs. If you look at their CV, it's so impressive. It looks brilliant. What could possibly they be unhappy about, right? And they come to the career coach and they're saying, it's not making me happy. It's not,
mm.
I know I should be happy. I should be so
Yeah.
privileged. It's so much work. I
Mm,
put all my life's work into getting here.
mm,
But now I'm feeling empty. I'm going to work and nothing. It's just not what I need to be doing. It's because they
mm,
need that meaning stage. They need to feel
mm,
like they are doing something that resonates with them internally, not just
mm,
the organization needs. What the organization needs is increase in the bottom line, right? What the organization needs is that, for example, I was in learning and development. I went there because I thought I can help people develop and grow professionally. But at the end of the day, learning and development is not about that. Learning and development is about that every single dollar, pound you spend on training results in positive return on investment for the business. It's all about making money for shareholders.
mm,
Yes, the person can learn at the same time, so it can mutual benefit. That exactly is the artistry, the mastery of learning and development,
mm,
that the person can also grow at the same time. But the
mm.
benchmark is always, is it positive return
Yeah.
on investment? So at the end of the day, it's up to the person to understand what is it that is actually, how, first of all, how am I feeling about my work?
Mm,
Is, am I happy to be where I am now? If that same feeling continues, if I'm still exactly feeling exactly the same in 5, 10 years from now, how is that going to feel for me? Am I happy with that? Is that going to be okay?
mm,
And if
mm.
that thought is making you, oh my God, no way, then you need
Yeah.
to do something about it, because that's,
Yeah.
our life is way too precious. It's way too short.
We need to leave our guests with this. So what do you do? What, what sort of task or solution, do we have to offer? And I think the very first step would be a self-reflection. So take a moment to really think about which career stage do you think that you're in? One, are you at a place where you just really want to try a lot of new things and you're exploring? Or two, are you in a growth phase where you're just like, I found the thing I love, but now I want to learn, 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 learn. I want to grow. I want to upskill. I want to whatever. Or number three, are you looking to establish yourself and saying, I've arrived. Now I want to enjoy it. Or number four, are you in the meaning phase? Are you like, look, I've done all of this stuff and now I want to make sure that I am truly connected, you know, internally, giving back, finding real deep purpose and meaning in my work. And the second question is, are you actually getting what you need? If that reflection feels still a little bit too general or generic or vague, please check out the career needs assessment, which Tina created. It will help you walk through and maybe discover more about what's going on in your career. Is there anything else we want to leave our listeners with?
Just wishing everybody a fantastic day, wherever you are. You're doing a smashing job. I know that. So you're brilliant and you're doing great.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever you are, you got this, and we'll chat soon.